Okay, so maybe we can start slowly and I will admit later other participants. I guess more people will show up, but let me first introduce and say something also about the project and what we do together with Yes for Less. First of all, hello everybody. Nice to not see you. I see your names, but I can recognize some of your names. Some of you are really regular at this online living libraries. I'm really glad about it. So part of the information are familiar to you, but it is what it is, and it's my obligation to say welcome to the to the fourth living library from the project Civil Society and Youth for Inclusive and Sustainable Development through Circular Economy in North Macedonia. It is a project supported by the European Union through the European Delegation in North Macedonia, and it's run by people in need from Czech Republic together with ARNO and together with Lead and Ekovita from North Macedonia. As you know, these are sessions that we want to present the stories of the people behind small circular businesses. Some of you are already having ideas and already are implementing or got the grant and starting with it. Some of you maybe just want to hear and learn more about the topic, but want to present then also from the Western Balkans countries. There are successful stories who break stereotypes and of course are part of this important circular economy chain. The session is in the form of living library. It's a concept that comes in Denmark and wants to show more in let's say, the story of the people rather than some technical information, and to inspire all of us to continue what we do. Some of you were at the previous one, but the first one we had with EcoLife from Gevgelia, a really interesting circular social enterprise from Macedonia. The second one was with Reton from Skopje, Macedonia. We continue now these stories from the region. The third one was with Muhammad from Bosnia, with Print Your Fix, and of course today we are with Dorina from Simply Green from Kosovo. All of these stories you can find in a booklet that we produced, and soon it will be available also in English and in Albanian language, and we will share with all of you. But today we have this amazing opportunity together with Yes for Less, part of, let's say, our ecosystem, really great friends and collaborators of ARNO, part of the ARNO alumni community, who will lead this session and dwell more into the life and into the circular business of Dorina from Kosovo. So Sara and Kate, the floor is yours.
Sara, you're mute.
Yes, I was mute, sorry. So I will tell again. Thank you very much for the introduction, and also thanks to the whole team of ARNO for this opportunity to show great stories from the region. We from Yes for Less, me and Katarina, we are NGO and working on different topics regarding sustainability in Macedonia, but also in the region, showcasing different stories, workshops, etc. And the most active that we are is on Instagram. However, today we are for a reason and to speak more about Simply Green. Let me introduce you, Dorina. Dorina will maybe in 5 or 10 minutes tell her brief story, and then we can you can ask some questions. I can ask her different questions as well, and so on. It's more like exchange moment.
Thank you very much, Sara. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. And congratulations for a great work, because it's like it's for people like myself, who I also consider myself an environmentalist. It's like music for my ears to hear other stories as well. And I'm humbled that you called me today to share what I'm doing. So maybe I can just briefly say that I do work with young people for over 25 years, and protecting the environment is somehow, I feel, in today's world, it's a calling it should be for every individual, because we only have one world. There is no planet B, right? So I lead the company called Simply Green, which is the first green furniture company in Kosovo, and produces furniture from older materials. So this is like a general, if I can share, and I've been active for a few years now, and now it's slowly growing to hopefully something bigger.
Great. When I read actually on your website that you have over a decade of experience in recycling textiles and empowering women, and that you are also working, as you said, with young people for over 20 years. Like, can you tell us more about your past? Like, how did you start? I read some stuff, but let me not spoil it. So just from your very beginnings.
Yeah, so I have started working with young people since 2000, and I've been involved in different programs. I've been working for different agencies, working with civil society in general in partnership with really different UN agencies, different local organizations. And then I joined working with organizations like the YMCA, which is the biggest youth organization in the world and the oldest. So I've been working with them for a long time and leading it, so kind of helping build different youth centers across Kosovo. But part of, because of my background on economy, I'm always interested in social enterprise. And I try to make sure what kind of community-driven initiatives can be established. So I've been helping to establish different activities and different programs. And perhaps in the case of the YMCA, where I've been involved for longer, I've been managed with my team to make 12 locations around the country and to buy a lot of things and to do a lot of activities that are fully sustainable. So as we know, in general, across the whole Balkans, the youth topic is kind of sometimes narrowed down into just youth rather than investing in infrastructure and investing in civil society in that context. But parallel with it, I always had an eye for business because I also come from a family that leads business. So it was a good combination to see it in a bit of how do we make it sustainable, because also civil society has to start thinking of economic activities for their self-sustainability. And it's something that's not really much spoken in, because we're still kind of quite new. Everyone is more like get the funds and spend the funds and run the whole stuff. So because I also learned a lot in US and in UK, where half of my family is from UK. So kind of see other models like this organization that have been there. Perhaps the YMCA is 180 years old organization. Actually used to be called YMCA Yugoslavia. And then it is actually funded in Yugoslavia in 1920. So it's the oldest also here, but of course has transition stuff. But in globally, so I learned a lot of economic activities, and that really educated me through the last 25 years. And pinpoint for me was the green agenda, and how can we make more programs that we recycle and protect the environment while educating, also making it sustainable. So this is like
I see. Yeah, I see. And actually, when I was reading about your business, in my head was like, oh my God, I always disliked cars, especially because of the trash that they produce, from the tires. And it's, from another point of view, it's very hard not to own a car, especially in countries as Macedonia and Kosovo.
Yeah.
And we have found actually that also in our country, there are millions of tires thrown, like just dumped. And we were like asking ourselves, like, what made you to be so interested into this kind of problem for the environment?
I don't think we all, maybe this is generalization, but we don't really see the tires that much. Even when we see them, but at the same time, people drive past them. We all have some tires somewhere in the road somewhere, everyone. We drive, but we don't really see them. And that's the fact that we don't see them that much, or it's not an alarming thing. That's an issue itself. So I didn't start straight away with tires. I was fed up a bit of the plastic. So people throw everywhere. Everyone complain to municipalities, like municipalities going to have to come one day even to our houses and clean our house mentality we have. It doesn't work like that. So that was frustrated. I was working a lot to see how to work with plastic only. But because I think I have this personality that I'm quite curious, but I like to go and do it myself to understand how it works rather than just watch someone doing it. So I was trying, but then parallel with it, doing the scientific aspect of it, of researching the chemicals that plastic, when you melt them and it release, can be very dangerous for you working with that. So that was like, do I have enough information now to be safe on this? So that was the start kind of my conversation about recycling plastic. And then I worked with, there was a call for application for support in the business. And through that time, I didn't really apply to a lot of things because I was trying to figure it out myself. There were a lot of calls. Oh, here is a green agenda, this, but I didn't want to apply for anything. I was trying to figure it out what I want. And then I find out that Kosovo has around 600,000 cars. I'm doing research.
Wow.
It does help.
600,000.
Yes, 600. So almost more than every like 2.5, 3 people have a car in Kosovo.
Wow.
There
is 1 million. No, how
1.5 million.
1.5. Okay.
So it's like that. But
Oh my God.
3, a bit less, but that's 3. So and from 600,000, 100,000, let's say they are not active for some reason. They didn't register, they're broken, whatever. There are 500,000 active on the street. So for an average of changing tires is around 2 to 4 years. This is what, let's say in Balkans, this is how it changed. Like it normally should be 2, whatever. We say we push it. We try to make sure we overuse them. A lot of times they get broken. You go and fix them and fix them and fix them. So let's say like that. And so for every 4 years, I took it, extended it. We have around 2 million tires thrown.
Oh my God.
And there was no system of recycling. And I did some research and I saw perhaps in Serbia, they have a good system of recycling. There are other Balkan countries who have different, Montenegro, I think, has something similar. So they had a system in place in some degree, not completely everyone, but we didn't have any system specifically. There were companies that were collecting them and blending, like recycling them and shipping to Turkey for making asphalt or something. But the problem is the tires are very hard to recycle. But one day I did a lot of research to figure it out, and I'm amazed on the science behind tires. And then I started to become a bit like nerd on going to understand, so how do they make it? And then and they are very heavy because they carry metal on it. And then plus they always try to make it more perfect, more durable for street, but that puts more chemicals into it. Yeah. So if you are trying to separate them, they release a lot of chemicals. And then same is they pollute the air just by staying on the street. We all of us, like in Macedonia and Kosovo, we have a good weather. So in the heat, they release release chemicals that are very bad for our environment and for air and all of the elements that go with. So I was like, I'm gonna have to figure it out this. So then I got some tires, and then this is how it's all started. So and the research for me was alarming, and I was shocked that we didn't have more awareness about this, or people didn't really care enough, rather say. And I'm like, okay, because as we know, people who are thinking on green are not a big number. We might be a bit vocal, like people hear us to talk, but we are not really a lot of us that are pushing this. So this is how I started.
Wow, really interesting. And I imagine did you have a car at that moment?
I did have a car, and I'm like, and that I do have a car because we live in Balkans, and for as much as to go with, it's like if we were in a center of Europe, I would have taken train everywhere or good buses. And here, the road that was supposed to be 2 hours is 4 hours. So I have to be a fan.
No, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
I did have.
No, it was not to, let's say, to judge you or something.
No, it's okay.
More to ask, like, because if I was in your skin in that moment, I would be like seeing my car and saying, wow, that's a challenge. Like, what can I do with the tires? Because if each 4 years you're going to change them, like, then what do? You just throw them, you dump them, and
I mean, I need my car to go and collect tires.
That's a good.
I might want to have in a close future an electric car or whatever green. I hope solar, hopefully it's the best to have one, but I had to go and get tires with my car. Yes.
That's interesting. Okay, so getting the tires and you're making a furniture. So what kind of furnitures, what types of furniture are you making? Like I saw some chairs, but what is in your palette of furnitures? What else do
So
you do?
they're mostly chairs, and but then I figure so this is an interesting because I think we tend to normally judge a lot in our region the startups. If you're not quick being successful, you're not good enough. This is the mentality. Perhaps it took me 1 year. So every day, go to work. I have twin boys. Of course, I co-parent with my husband. It's only my kids, but it's still, I have kids. And then having to go and find time to work on this tire. So if you were to work in a tire and experiment how to make a seat alone, can take a year. But then when someone looks at, if you were to apply for support, they're like, oh, no, first year, you didn't do any income. Excuse me, gentlemen or miss or madam, how do you want to invent things? Because this is, I didn't went and copy it. I even applied to patent some of the products because you are saying, okay, the tire, I don't have to invent this, already invent, but how to make it look nice. So now I will ask a question to everyone, because of course I can't see because people don't have the cameras, but I will ask a question. How often you go, and maybe it will change you when you go back home, but how often do you go and sit somewhere in the house and think, what is under the seat? What is made of under? Do you have tire under, or does it have metal? You never do that. So I was trying to figure it out how to make that when someone goes and sits on the seat, they don't think about it. Oh yeah, it looks like a tire. Oh, it's used. I don't like used things. And then I didn't want the reacting effect, which kind of, that probably will piss me off, pardon my French, but that was like, I was working on how to make it work. Parallel with that year of building it, I was going to trainings because I figured out I don't know how to use a drill. And then I'm like, how is possible from where I come from? I am the 8th generation with university in my family. This means my grandfather were all in different places in the world studying, I don't know, philosophy or military geography or economy or medicine, whatever, generation after. How is possible that I don't know how to use a drill? And I felt so dumb a bit. Like I was like, how did I not use? And I'm like, I can look at the instruction, and then you have men who are like right? And I felt so. And then I asked, and then my husband was helping me, and then my father was helping me to learn how to use drill. So this is kind of. So then I figured out I have to go and learn how to use equipment. But my condition was I don't want to use equipments that spend electricity.
Oh,
Have to
wow.
do in minimum. So that is like, I was also thinking the energy. So how much will cost for me to go with the car, with fuel, that fuel, how much will emit CO2? And then I was doing more into a scientific aspect of the work than just thinking, okay, I'm going to make something, I'm going to make money. That was not my ambition. I was trying to limit it as little as possible. And that all the equipment that later on I bought are with battery, are all hand use. So you'll charge them once and that's it. You unplug them and then use that energy. So this is how I was trying to calculate of how little is needed to make something that can give longer life and protect the environment.
Wow, that's really important, really inspiring. Actually, you thought about the whole process, not only, okay, this is the furniture and that's it, but how this furniture will be conceived and what is also the afterlife of it.
And first, when we were building, how do we save energy on using it? Like the material we get and all of these things, how do we save? And then that's the other thing is when we sell to people, which is also part of the Green Deal, I believe,
Yeah.
the conditions that come with it.
And today, so you are the only, you're the CEO and you're the only employee, or you have other people helping you?
So this is an interesting also question. So I started the company, and I thought for me, the idea is to create something that no one has created before, but at the same time to maximize the use of tires, get them out of the system. And so we are in a process that even that we have people have asked for our products and stuff, we are in the process, and I also know that we haven't even posted on social media or things like that, because we are getting ready to expand, meaning to have more employees and hopefully more women. And then remember, it will be easy for me to just go and get, I don't know, 5, 10 men who I respect and I appreciate contribution of men. I believe in gender equality, but I like to choose the harder work or roads, because I know sometimes harder work is worth it, and I don't do business just for the sake of money. So that is, I think, because business with value or with real honesty on it, they are more sustainable. Because then you kind of, I would like more women to open businesses, or I would like more women to get involved. But I also am aware that we need more training.
And maybe one day in the future you will open in Macedonia, or you will find a collaborator from there. Who knows? If you are trying to expand.
That is the idea. Idea is to expand, and idea is to. I think someone asked some question I just saw on the comment, but I think ideally is to think long term. We can't think on green and still benefit on environment damage. So that for me is, I think, is a conflict of morals. I think it has to be step by step. And I was a bit annoyed because after I figured out the idea to build the chair, because what can you do with tire? I mean, I don't know. It's not going to be a hat because it's heavy, or it can't be a dress because it's cutting. So I was trying to figure out what to do, and then I'm like, how about I do a chair with it? But how do you dress it so it doesn't look like? So I happen to be now going to different furniture shops and look at the designs like live. I started walking and I'm like, this one is not. Yeah, okay, sorry. I need to not check off the comments because I can see that it's coming.
I will take care of that. Don't worry. Continue.
Yeah, thank you. So thanks. So yes, I started looking around to see how to come up with a product, and I thought, okay, chair. Sometimes they're really heavy, but they're like, okay, so do I put wheels on them? And I started putting wheels on some of them to wheel it out. So it was, at the same time, a very big challenge coming from someone who I'm not very handy with things. And I admit I didn't know how to use a drill, to someone who I learned how to do that. I went to a training for CNC machines, and I'm like, how does this thing even work? And they're like computer, and there are a lot of other men from different companies. I was the only woman in there. I literally could feel the way these men were looking at me on that training. They were very nice, but somehow they're like, like she's just here. What does she know? And I'm like, obvious, I don't know anything, because you also are here to learn, same like me. But I did the training, I got my certificate, I learned how to learn CNC, but then I also needed to learn the equipments, and then I started to. Now, like, it's very good, but it's not for me, because it spends a lot of electricity, the way they were working. They're like, with concrete and a lot of materials. So I learned how to do, and I came up to making a chair, and that was very challenging, but very, very, very good learning process. So I got so much confidence in them. Okay, I can make a chair, everyone.
From chair to everything.
Yes, I might have built buildings, like I have fundraised to build big buildings. I even, in the work on YMCA, I built a camp for young people. It has residential American version of camp with US and others. I built a big camp. You have no idea how much it inspired me, that chair. And I'm like, this, can you sit? I'll ask everyone else to sit. It doesn't go everything like anywhere, but it was such a beautiful process. I know I will not change it for it.
We had some question in the chat. Katerina is asking, I'm curious, how did you come to the idea to produce chairs, and what were the other options you were experimenting with that were not chairs?
Yeah, so I think first I was trying to melt the plastic. I was trying to do things with wood, and one of the things I was trying to do decoration. So get old material and do decoration for wall. And then I did some, and they were not even sticking to stay on the wall. Like I'm like, this is not gonna work. And if I had someone with camera to follow all the failure that I did through the year, it's like this is not gonna work, is it? And I even have sometimes my family members, and they're all like, Dorina, yeah, no, it's not gonna stay. And everyone didn't really understand why am I doing this. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to figure out something else. And then I keep changing and changing. So in the end, the tire was a bit of like almost a calling, because it's like you can't do. And then I got the information, I can't do anything with it, and I came. But then I figured out there is a lot of wood, and by doing a lot of reading and studying about it, and also been involved with Green Agenda for over a decade, so I kind of had a lot of information as well, but which helped. Just think, every one of us we live in a fast consumption industry. So it's expected everything we buy, like from fridge and kitchen or bed or everything, 5 years maximum as a guarantee, right? So it's expected within 5 years to go and change it, right? We all think of every 1 year. You, even if the kitchen is not broken, after 5 years, you start thinking, I'm bored with this color. Maybe we can change it. So that's the mentality we're living in. Now let's think of the kitchens. How many kitchen people throw away? Now, when you throw a kitchen, how many cabinets are there? How many pieces of wood are there? I'm like, I can make a chair with it. So this is how I also started making chair with it. And I'm like, but and then I understood that there are very different types of wood. You can't get every kind of chair and people fall on it and hurt themselves and then sue you for it. So I'm like, okay, I have here to educate myself more. So I kind of slowly. So I have now different. So I get good quality of wood, and I find certain type of chairs, which we have the seats, but also tables. So we kind of now more and more products are coming along, but it's easy when you learn the safety, how to use, because everyone can do it. Like literally everyone can say, okay, I'm going to do this one. Or if you are mostly men and have money and they're going to just pay someone to get in and do it. What I think is unique about Simply Green is because we take time and love in the product. And then by sending to someone a product is also for them to make sure they're comfortable. And if tomorrow they don't want the product, they want to update it, or it's broken, or for some reason, they can still call. And then we will take it, redo it, and send it back. So that is the idea, is that we keep that long-term relationships.
And how is the process usually? Like, how do you decide whether some item is worth saving? Like, people can just call you, send pictures, and then you recuperate, you take it from their houses. Like, can you walk us through the process?
But so far, we have opened to recuperate, but we haven't had recuperation, because still, if people will have a product, they will just keep, right? But I think idea is when you are building it, to keep the most out of it. There are some products, so we don't have a 100% all recycled product, because perhaps if you are getting, I don't know, if someone is giving you a sofa, you cannot use the sponge because it's not
You need to change because
hygienic. Yeah. So some things are like, I will not do unless we would to have a system of cleaning them or whatever, which we don't have. If there is a system, then I understand. But in time being, the sponge perhaps has to be clean. But the hard materials, we get it. So it's a good question, because, but the idea is to limit the trash, more or less, to limit for the moment. But when we get a tire, you use tire 100%, which that means from this product, you actually bring some another product.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so idea is that, for example, if I have something that I don't use and I want to give it a second life, I can contact you, and you will find some solution how to fix it, or how to make it better.
Yeah, and I think these are some part of our services that I think for next year that we were going to try to open up, because a lot of people have a lot of emotional things. something that their parents used, or and then we all have, if we were to look, we all have something grandparents had and you would like to keep. Like, so the moment people want to think like that, this is an educational element. It means they are thinking to keep something. They might not do it straight away for environment cause, but we need to tackle in that one also to keep that and that have a service that we offer that. So these are all, there is so much opportunity on recycling and upcycling and, you know, all of that. Even that I am not a big fan of recycling. I like upcycling. This is what we do, because still recycling is the lost, how to say, the lost element of saving environment. When you can't do anything, you're like, okay, then let's destroy it. And then while you destroy something to make something else, you're already spending electricity, you're releasing gases. So all of the, so it's not the best how we have, but it's the best from the worst.
Exactly, it's the best from the worst. I agree with you. We received some more questions. How and to whom did you sell your first products? And where are you selling your products now?
So for the time being, we are in another phase. So first of all, we did, my first product is my husband buttons, because it's like, I would like first.
That's the best support.
Yes, so that's, but what I think now the time is to see different markets and see where we can expand and how we expand it. So it's more like a reinvention time. Even though we have the product, the challenge, I would rather say, for the moment is we really are combating with mentality. It's the way people think. So that's why, so perhaps, but there are always opportunities. Like the green sector is going to enter. This is advice for those who do work in green and wants to produce anything green that you would produce. Could be glasses or whatever. They are hotels and restaurants, and because even in TripAdvisor or Booking.com, if you have green element as a service, you're going to get more points and be promoted. So there are big institutions who are thinking on green. So we are thinking it that way. So we are kind of reinventing. Not that now we have the products. We are not so much into let's just sell and make the money and who cares, you know, what's happening. But there is one element that is also part of the Green Deal or mentality is, let's think we produce kitchen, like completely upcycled kitchen we did. When we sell it, it's not about just getting the money. It's about offering them an information one day when they don't want the kitchen, what can they do with it? And I think that requires a lot of mentality raising, emancipating the businesses. And I figured out I will call all of them, because as you know, very little women work in this industry in Kosovo, but they don't care. Not all, but most of them is like, as fast as possible, use CNC machine on everything. Any possible wood, import, export, just get kitchens. They do have the money. They do play the game. They are the big guys there. But I do believe that thinking this way as a long, we will be in one way, have our own share in the market, because they're going to be institutional need. So I encourage everyone who wants to do green, don't worry about rushing. I know people are like, oh, acceleration, someone is going to post you, going to get your idea. Fine. You know, Apple, perhaps. There are so many phones, so they keep their model, or other companies. Just think, you know, you don't need to, you're not in competing with it just for sake of getting into the market. It's not all about the money, because that is what we have done in the Balkans regarding air pollution. People don't care while we are all being poisoned. Streets, lack of education of children on green. We need to make this place. What is the difference from us in Scandinavia? It's just awareness. And then we need more education.
There is one phenomenon. No, don't worry. But now that you mentioned Scandinavia or also Europe and so on, there is one phenomenon. I don't know if it's the same in Kosovo. I guess it's the same. But if a product goes out from Macedonia, from the country, and they get award or they get something recognized, for example, if they published on, let's say, Milano Design Week, suddenly everybody in Macedonia
Yeah.
wants it, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, they recognize it, now we should. So maybe this is the kind of, let's say, fixed solution to show to make it more attractive. It's really stupid that first other people should acknowledge it and then our people, but I mean, if it works.
You touched on an interesting topic. We tend, all of the region, all of the West Balkan, we think others know more. And eventually, a lot of elements, they are more aware or developed. That's completely true. But we can also invent. We can invent in a science, we can invent in an environment. We can, actually, we have more garbage. We can probably invent more on this than them, because there are cases on Denmark or Sweden was running out of them. So that's, we have to be creative. And I think, and then don't think when we are about to think of selling, that there is an idea, oh, am I going to sell only in Kosovo? No. You're going to sell across Europe, but you need to know your product. What is the quality, what standards, and then bring along people who care about it. And I think there are probably, you shared earlier, there are a lot of people here maybe who have social enterprises. Just think, well, how can you find another partner somewhere that thinks similar? In Europe, we are such a small market, we can just send anywhere in Europe.
Actually, because we are a small market, I think it's really easy to test fastly, because number one, there are not many people, so you can collect faster the information. And number two, somehow in our countries, we know each other, so it's easier to find people that you can collaborate or you can test the product and so on. While in other countries, you're just a number, and especially because everything is already thought. Like, I mean, it's not the same. So I agree with you. I see a lot of potential in our countries to develop this kind of products that are created from waste or from garbage, let's say, but to make it something useful, like it's. Yeah. So, okay, getting back now, I got reminded about one question, but maybe before, if somebody wants to ask, they can even just like ask directly with the voice. I will give the word if somebody wants. Okay. Well, guys, you are free really to join the conversation, either now, either in the chat. If not, I will continue. I have more questions. Okay, I wanted then to speak about being a woman in Kosovo, and especially in this kind of environment where it's not so easy to be a woman, but to understand with which challenges you were facing and how you were dealing with them.
I personally, I don't see myself ever less on that context. I more see in a context of business, they are financially more powerful. The women have to somehow drag themselves back or don't have enough support. It's interesting, I'm learning a lot because in the business, men support each other a lot. So here it's like, okay, there are one or two, so what do we do? You know, one is there are two other women who have businesses, but they are co-owners with their husbands, they have big factories and etc. But I'm like, but they are into the fast production and I'm not in the fast production. So I'm trying to figure it out how to maneuver this and how to get involved into finding support in a different direction, somewhere whether it's green, people have a similar awareness. It is difficult for women in a context of, is somehow you are a stranger, everyone else, and you see, they're like, what is she doing? Like almost doesn't, like misfit a bit. But I actually don't, part of me doesn't really mind. I'm like, just okay, whatever, you know, I will just do my own things until I find more women that do this. And I did participate in some forums and met some women in Netherlands, and they were working similar, so we're kind of in conversations.
And have you been in touch with some other women from other regions, like that are in this? No,
I have not seen any other woman that works with tires or furniture industry. Maybe I didn't have enough focus to meet for the moment because I'm still into the product development and a vision for it, and how can we expand and just have, how do all the steps, perhaps one of the things we were thinking that to not have, from the beginning, to not have our own cars.
Mhm.
Have you noticed companies that deliver, a bit like DHL or others that are
Yeah.
local, that are a bit more cheap to pay, but they already go to these places. So we're thinking, okay, we will not going to have, because they already emit CO2. So in case we don't have that, they anyway going to go to that road, at least our product as well. So a lot of thinking behind becoming as green as possible, and then kind of calculated that and put that in the report, because it's not just talking, it's walking the talk that way.
Well, for the moment, I can just share one contact with you. Her name is Marta Moisova from Skopje. I mean, I will send now in the chat one link also to share with the other people. It's on Macedonian, but you can put on Google Translate, and contact her. She's doing what basically you're doing, but in Macedonia. And I think that you could maybe like collaborate or just get in touch and share, I think it's always good to have this kind of collaboration, and just to not to feel alone, and that for sure she has maybe some answers to your questions, or you have, and so on.
Well, thank you very much for sharing. I will definitely contact her. I already opened the website the link is fantastic. I think she's doing a good job, and I will reach out to see if we can have a coffee and see. Let's first start about challenges, then see how we can collaborate.
Exactly. What else? Yes, I wanted also to ask you about more, maybe it's a spicy topic, because I wanted to ask about the financial part. Like, you can tell me if you're feeling, of course, okay, to share how much are you selling the chairs? Like, you can give a range from to, basically, like, just to understand how, like what.
So I think this is a good question, because this is always people wonder how to make pricing in any business. Like, how do you price? You have to test the market. They can go from perhaps, I don't know, 80 euro to 300 euro to 500 euro, 5,000, depending who is the market. If you were to make such a special piece for something, it might cost maybe 500 euro, or you make something less, can cost 80 euro. So it's around that range.
Okay,
that includes the time, includes everything, the materials you put in, the time, the transport, and everything. And then you see the profit, depending what kind of chair or product we're talking about. And sometimes, perhaps, I also tested on pricing for a few people to talk about, and I asked other people who I knew, so how much would you pay for this? Like, asked to test the market, and there were people like, I'll pay 300 euro easy, or like, depending who is your target? I think that's important to know. Who is your target? Are you B2B or B2C, or if it is B2C, business to client? In this case, you need to know.
This is interesting. I got reminded. I was hearing one podcast from one studio that is working with wood in Macedonia, and they're doing just new wood. And they were called by the Pope in Rome to do a table, and they were like, okay, how do we put a price on that? It's really interesting, because one price is for Macedonians in Macedonia, and one prize is for the Pope that wants to make him a table. Like, so that's why I understand why you answered.
That's fantastic. I would give it for him for free. This is what I will do. I said, just the PR you do to that one, and enjoy the table. I will have given for free as a gift. I wouldn't bother about the money there.
Yeah.
That's just by putting that you give it, you sell it, put it outside, you sell it to him. It's going to be a great promotion.
Well, you can reach it. You never know. I mean,
this is how it works, right?
Yeah. Okay, we have some more. We have more questions. Do you think your clients, by appreciating the circularity, that your clients that buy your products are appreciating their circularity, the values, or they just like the products?
And that is very, very good question. I think it's interesting, because you have people who just like the product, when I talk to them. They're, oh, this is fantastic. They don't even think that. But then there are other people who are like, probably this is fantastic because you know how much, so people care. So now when you want to sell the product, I guess, let's say around Europe, you'll have to know which country you're selling. If you're to sell it, and perhaps in Kosovo or Macedonia or Montenegro, or so you're selling, they're like, oh, this is very nice. They would not, this is why I asked the question, how many of you think where you're sitting, what is made of? We have all things. Maybe you have tires under your sofas and you don't know because we don't check. So people who are here, they don't care that much in the Balkans. If it is tire, the moment you say it's tire, they're like, oh, this is used. I will not use this place. I want a new thing. I don't want an old thing. There is a lot of other questions. So depending from where people come from and their awareness. So in my case, I think people that I've been working or communicating, they're more aware. I haven't got enough into just, this is why I like to focus for the business on B2B, which means more companies to work with, like if it is in HoReCa, like in the hotels or other institutions or public institutions, that they buy because it's green rather than they buy because, because,
Yeah.
sure.
And I have another topic now that I thought about social media, because when I was trying to reach to you, I was searching everywhere. I searched Instagram, Facebook, I even added you on LinkedIn or so on. Like I was searching everywhere because when I saw, as we are active every day on Instagram, our generation,
Yes.
I thought the first thing that comes to my mind is Instagram. I don't even check the others. And then I saw that your last post was from 2024 and I was like, oh my God, they're maybe not even active. I thought about it.
Yeah.
So
because you're not there.
I want to understand, like, is it because you don't have time or because you don't think it's important in this moment?
No, I think it's definitely important. I think it was matter of a bit of a time, but also of rethinking the way forward. So it's no point perhaps putting the same product out there if we are hoping to get next year working with big companies that are just going to buy the product straight away. Some companies need PR, some needs to meet those who meet halfway with each other. So depending from the model. In our case, I think will be good, hoping the next year to just kind of work with companies that just, or if it is a comp or a space or someone who buys in, let's say, Germany, just gonna, we put more focus in doing the work and send it there. And then, of course, have someone hopefully in the future to also do the marketing of it. But marketing, I think, is for us, or promotion for us, is more awareness rather than call for sales.
Exactly, yeah. You can use the social media of basically raising awareness of why this is important, what you're doing, not just to showcase your latest model, but also to make people understand why and how, also like which materials are used and so on. Like I think it's actually what we are doing with Yes for Less. Like we are trying to not always just try to sell or to make people do something without understanding, but first explain them, and then if they would like to join or so on, then they are willing to do it.
Every business should do that. Every business should use elements of awareness about what they produce, because we are way in the red in the world regarding environment, that we have really pushed all the limits, and the false consumption is ruining us. So we need to have that. This is why I think a European Green Deal is so important, and it's good that this also takes the West Balkans. Sorry, I think Dorina.
Yes, Kate, please go.
Yeah, I got lazy of writing the questions, so I'll just speak for the last one. I wanted to ask, since you said that you have been working for at least an year on experimenting with the tires, like what kept you going in practical way? Like I'm sure you had many moments of like, oh my God, this is not working. This will have such a small impact. It takes so much time. So what was your thought process, or what was happening in your life? What were you doing to get back the motivation?
I actually think every time I started working, and of course, when I started myself with the initiative, but I also brought together my father and my husband was helping me with Activism to work it out. But every time it didn't work, I think it I just really wanted to produce some, wanted to make a product. And there was nothing coming in front of me. And I think it has to do also because of my work experience for so long. If I want to do something and I know has a good impact, I don't take no for an answer. I always pray that people don't tell me the word no, because that's the end. I'm like, when you say no, it means that is when you switch on all the gears. And I'm like, no, you should not say the word. So I always, when I work with people, I say, please do not say no to me, because it does something to me. And I'm going to be night and day and make sure it's going to work. But through the process, I enjoy learning. Because to be honest, there were times that I even hurt my finger a bit. I'm like putting all this nails down, and all of these things. And then I learned you can't have nails when you do all this. People don't prepare you for things like that. You have to have no nails, you have to sort out, have the gloves, have to have the things to protect yourself, have the glasses. So I was enjoying it. The one thing I was annoyed is when it came time to ask for help, like meaning to apply for grants to support, even government institutions, they were like, oh, you've been for 1 year active, you didn't have a lot of income here, I don't think you're qualified. It's just like, how do you want to invent things, And I think that should be raised as an awareness when we fund startups, because you need to give them at least 2-3 years to figure it out themselves. Some switch on, if it is I'm making videos, I can make a video and do with AI the edit in 5 minutes and sell you the product. But if I really want to have an impact, and remember, I think the production as a process is the most difficult form of economy, of business, because you're bringing something that did not exist to life, like in a context physical. And then people are trying to avoid to not do production. You will see everyone who does production, they're like, this is so hard, we have to produce, in my case, you have to gather things, you have to make, you have to keep contact, you have to promote in social media. It's just like, and rather than I'm just here, I will develop something online, sell it, and I'm done. I do a service online. So choosing the harder way is something we should encourage for younger generation, because it doesn't harm. You learn more. Everyone who works makes money. That is for me in my mind. Whoever works, they will get paid for something. You don't work unless you go volunteer. But yes, it just kept me going. I think because people really didn't believe I could make it. I was like, everyone is like, oh, why are you in this training? You have a company. What do you do? Do you have any machines? No, I don't have. Because these machines cost 30, 40, 50, few €100,000. I do not have the machine, but I want to learn how that machine works when I get it. But then I figured out it's too much expensive of electricity. I could have applied and get that one somewhere, but I didn't. No, I said that is not doing good. I have my own condition. Yes.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. It's amazing story. It's a real story, and it's really inspiring. I think that we can now slowly close this 1 hour session. It was really a pleasure. I still have many questions, but I hope that we can get to meet each other in real life and discuss. If anytime you're passing from Macedonia or we are passing, we will let you know.
I'll be in Macedonia on Monday. And I'm going through Skopje to Bitola for a conference, so I will be there for a few days. But
Okay.
I will, anytime anyone comes to Kosovo, Pristina, or if I'm there, I will contact. Thank you very much. I really enjoy to spend the time and have a coffee together. And I also want to hear what you guys do. This is fantastic. I am a big advocate of people with green. It's like today's superheroes or those who work with green. This is my definition of it.
Yeah, like
I
think we are choosing the harder way just by doing something green first, because as you say, everything is slower. You need to take care to fit like all the pieces in the story. I mean, you can do it fast if you want. You can order like pieces from Temu and just like assemble them. And it's like, oh, it's a green product, but if you want to do everything perfectly from scratch, we are the same, then it's really difficult. And if you do it only for money, like, you will never succeed.
It will damage something on the way, and we have done enough damage to the world. But I'm really inspired by you when I went through your social media, and I thought you girls do fantastic work. So well done for that. I was like, and you're right, you guys, your social media is on fire.
Yeah, it's on fire. But we only do that. We don't do like product, so that's why.
That is already a big product. No worries, like visibility. You're very, very active,
and we have full-time jobs on the side. Let's not forget that.
But I should meet with you girls and learn how to do that.
Well, thank you again. Thank you to everyone that stayed until the end. We hope you liked it, and we keep in touch for the next sessions. Follow us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye. Ciao, ciao.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.